What is up, and welcome back to a brand new video. Last time we left off, we just got finished with our war in France. I lost a few boats to barbarians, and right now we're just building districts, trying to build up the empire as best as we can. I think at this point is when I realized that I pretty much had the science victory in the bag. I had all these cities, despite the fact that I've been dealing with barbarians, been dealing with low production at times. And I still really ended up getting, I think at this point I have 10, 11 cities. I'm about to settle my 15th or 16th city right here. By turn 141, that is more than enough cities to ensure a science victory. As you can see, I bought one of my tiles in my new island city, just so I can get that 40 gold from the tribal village, and Heidelberg actually has some loyalty problems, so I decided to put Magnus in Heidelberg. And the great thing about it is I have the policy card that gives, I think it was 3 housing and 1 amenity for governors with at least 2 promotions. So the city of Heidelberg, it's still growing pretty decently, despite the fact that there's no water, coast or fresh, in its vicinity. It's not getting any housing bonuses. Finally, I'm starting to build up the Hansas, the dams, the aqueducts. The one problem is these barbarians still, the ranged units. I'm moving my builder to secure that source of iron and to help my island village, my island city, I don't know what the city's called, build up. And at this point, I'm going to be pretty much done building any more cities. I thought about moving out to some islands near the continent, but I realized that was a pretty bad idea when I needed to catch up in science and infrastructure. But as for right now, I actually have a lot of units that I should have upgraded, but I didn't. Because at this stage of the game, no one is going to be able to mess with us. We're just too strong at this point. There's nobody near us anyway. And our military strength is still pretty decent. I think it's right now. No, it's a little bit later that I end up putting civil prestige. I'm building markets, I'm getting my trade routes out. This is the point of the game where, okay, you have enough cities to catch up and surpass the AI. Now you have to start building districts, builders, start improving all the land you have. And that's what we spend pretty much the next few episodes doing, and pretty much what we spend doing for the rest of the game. We've met almost all the cities we can. I think there's 2 civilizations we still haven't met. And we just lost an improvement. Fuck the barbarians, man. Hate them. Got ourselves a great engineer, but he wasn't really that important, so I just put him wherever. Nice +6 location in Ninzangmavaru.
Yo, God, the thing goes skitty keep pop pop, and the poop poop boom, skia, boom.
Whatever that city's called. And just healing the boats that apparently can't even deal with a few quadriremes. We're going for exploration to get Merchant Republic. Pretty much 90% of the time I go Merchant Republic in almost any game. Unless I make a lot of faith, obviously, or I could use the other policy, I don't know, Monarchy, which I usually don't. Don't have too many walls. We get denounced by France, obviously. Pretty much made sure they couldn't win the game any longer. And we're still pretty much caught up in culture solely because of that city-state that gives us culture bonuses due to districts on lake tiles or on coast tiles, which I end up having a lot of. Here in Frankfurt, and yeah, this is pretty dumb of me. I realized that Aachen was working the tile I was going to put the commercial hub on, but for some reason I didn't end up switching it in that city and I had to put the commercial hub elsewhere. Hope some people understood that, probably not. Anyway, right now I decide to beeline for industrialization before going to scientific theory. No, it's the one that gives you research labs. The last campus building you can build in any of your science districts. I thought about going for the pyramids, but at this point I pretty much had all the builders I would need. Mausoleum of Helicarnassus would be good. But I ended up forgetting about that. Even in Augsburg, that would be a really good wonder to have. I end up putting a lot of fisheries and lots of luxuries in that city along with the reef. Try to get the Great Engineer Pass. Try to get the other policy pass. I don't think it worked. Nope. And this is where I start getting caravels, and oh my god, these quadrims are in for it. I am about to completely wipe out any barbarian in my path. So I think this is probably where I put in that governor policy card thing. Yes, civil prestige. I get nice housing in that city I just settled with no fresh water. Oh yeah, it's starting to go really nice. And I'm also building up the northwestern part of my empire, which is still pretty new. But obviously it's still going to be effective later on. And what do I end up doing next? Pretty much this is a boring episode. Nothing's going on. We're just trying to build up everything. Get our friendship back with Montezuma. End up getting an econom. I probably should have went with military here to ensure nobody tries to go to war with us anymore. I'm deciding, do I go the Ancestral Hall or Science Buildings? Ended up going with the Government Plaza building. Started building workshops and oh yeah. These caravels are going to destroy those barbarians. We're also starting to get the rest of the resources in our empire up. It's really the northwest that still had unimproved iron, luxuries, bonus resources that I could use. As you can see here, these barbarians really don't stand a match against my superior naval vessels. Yeah, this is when I realized I can move my things there. Yes, swap the tile, then I can put the campus. You can only put districts on tiles you own, which I think is pretty stupid, but it kind of makes sense. Well, yeah, we start building all the resources there, and I think this is when I really start pulling away in science. I was behind by about half as much to the Aztecs earlier on, and now I'm ahead by like 12, 13 points. Military were looking good. Eleanor's not going to like us for the rest of the game. We're making 5 diplomatic favor per turn. End up getting an alliance with Philip, believe it or not, pushing my diplomatic favor gain up to 6, which is really nice. I can use it to push my policies or sell it and make a quick buck. Chopping everything around Magdeburg to get everything going. About to get the pearls resource, and I think over here I get the horses. Yes, I do. More food, more production. That is what you love in this game. And we're pretty close to the tundra and snow tiles, which explains why we had so many barbarian ships to worry about. Guilds, we end up switching industrial adjacency. That gives me massive adjacency for... But anywho, let's get back to it. We do have a lot of Aztec apostles and shit coming to our cities, and that's... I don't know about that. As long as they don't win a religious victory, I'm okay with it. I put the Asian lady into Augsburg, so I hope that doesn't get me demonetized, into Augsburg so we can get the fisheries there. I just don't know what her name is. About to get the lighthouse in Augsburg. Augsburg, it's looking like a pretty good city. Whales, fisheries, and we have mass production for shipyards. That's lots of production, not to mention the Hansa. So I just decide to put the Hansa right beside the other Hansa and Aqueduct for more adjacency bonuses, and just move the campus. It's not going to be a very good campus if I'm being honest. And yeah, I'm trying to build up Augsburg at this point because I feel like that's going to be, one of my top 3, 4 cities in the entire empire. When you have about 15, 16 cities, I had about 16 cities at this point. Top 5 is pretty good. And pretty much blocked off the Aztecs from settling near me again. There isn't much land anyway, but it's good to know they're not a threat. And this right here, the southeast with those 5 cities, that is what I like to call the Ruhr Valley, or Germany. We have some like 8, 9 districts in that area. That's really our production powerhouse center. So I'm calling that the real River Valley, even though somebody else might build the Wonder, whatever. That's the real River Valley right there. See, look at that. When you get like 7, 8 districts going along, you know, it hurts growth, sure. But when it comes to production and resources, it's going to be a lot of production and science for spaceship parts, for example, which is pretty much what I'm trying to do at this point. I think I just saw, yeah, that's too nice of an adjacency bonus to give up. Sorry about that. Got aquaculture now, which means the second I get a builder, it's fishery time in Oxburg. Northwest of my empire is looking pretty good as well. Not to mention my relations with other civs are looking pretty good. My grievances are starting to go down with Eleanor. And every time she denounces me, I get less grievances anyway, so I mean, I'll take that. There we go, we meet Sweden, but we are immediately at war with them because they probably declared war on Philip, one of our allies. But it's whatever, they can't get to me, even though they do have a pretty decent military. They'd have to cross the ocean. Which is why at around this point in the game, I decided I was going to build a pretty big navy. Just think about it, France is absolutely... Oh my god, she's asking for demands with 80 military strength and like a fifth of my science. Okay, there. But yeah, France isn't a threat. I'm allies with the Aztecs. The only real invasion I'd have to worry about is coming from the sea. So building a lot of boats does help with that. First, I gotta get my harbors up in the western cities. The southwest should be ready to produce naval units soon. Now, what's interesting, though, is the Dutch are in the game. The Dutch have a pretty powerful navy boat. So to combat that, I decided to build the Venetian Arsenal. Even though it's not the best wonder, the fact that I get 2 ships for the price of 1, I feel like makes it worth it. So I'm just running around with the last few builders, making the last few improvements, destroying any barbarians that come in contact with me for what they did to the city of Augsburg. I'm still getting denounced by Wilhelma, but that's mainly because I'm not trading with her because I'm nowhere near her. Now, while bullying on this one quadrireme, he decides to get all his buddies up, and yeah, this is when I decide to run away as fast as I can. We do have a lot of coal, though, and a lot of it's under districts and under mines, so we don't even have to improve it. So, free factories, yay. What else do I do here? Pretty much it's just, this is the time where I start building workshops, buying traders, making almost 100 gold per turn at this point. I can afford to buy a trader every few turns. And yeah, somebody's made peace with somebody else. I think it might have been a city-state. And yeah, these barbarians are just getting too difficult to handle. We are near the South Pole. That is a hotbed for barbarians. So what we need is a few frigates, some privateers, a few more caravels, and I think that should be enough to deal with this threat. Also, in case we go to war with Wilhelma, or Sweden decides to send some of the units over, a good army would do wonders for it. Now, Eleanor's trying to resettle her lost cities. I try to prevent that from happening. We'll see how it goes. Decide to get a harbor out in Friedberg, not for the adjacency, more so I can build ships in that city. And lighthouses are pretty good, even without the extra housing. And I'm just starting to blow everybody out of the water when it comes to science. This is what's so great about Germany. Get a few cities, get a few Hansas, boom, you're building campuses in 5-6 turns. And lucky for us, the 1,000-year flood was mitigated by a dam. If I wasn't playing Germany, I probably wouldn't have built that dam. Even though I should probably start building dams and aqueducts and canals more often, because they also provide adjacency to other civilizations' industrial zones. Trying to get citizenship of Bologna, but I decide to put one envoy into Culture City State to get a tiny bit more culture. I'm too reliant on Nan Mandola at this point in the game. Somebody takes a suzerainty away, there goes my entire culture game. And yeah, he's probably going to take my fishing boat. No, he actually ran away. Stupid barbarian. So I'm thinking, do I build a Hansa, a shipyard, or a navy? I think I decide to go with the Hansa. Oh yeah, that's a +6 Hansa location. I am taking that. And she ends up settling the city of Lyon, so I couldn't really stop her, but at this point, I got all my cities settled, and Eleanor is way too far behind to really be a major threat in this game. She has about 2/3 of the culture Christina has. She has a pretty weak religion if she has one at all. And her science output is so low, I could be in the ancient era and still probably kick her ass. So I feel like they have to fix this part of the game. Eleanor was kind of locked in, as you'll see when we get satellites. She only had potential for like 5 cities or 6 cities max. I think she ended up with like 4 or 5. So what happened was the AI does not build campuses. Like, even if you look at Montezuma, he has a pretty good science output, or he did earlier in the game. Yeah, when I get spies and send them to Montezuma's land, no campuses at all. I'm not even kidding. You'll see it. No campuses, no science buildings at all. Which is part of what makes the AI so easy to defeat. Like, they're dumb. They're just going to build the first districts they get, encampments, holy sites trying to get a religion. They're only going to really build a few campuses, if any. And when you look at Eleanor's case, she has a low number of cities. She's not building any campuses. Her and Philip as well. Like, it's the Renaissance era, and they're not making more than 55, 56 signs combined. So I feel like that shit has to get patched out. Like, in my opinion, the really 3 most important districts which you should build every single game: industrial zones, commercial hubs, and campus districts. I feel like the most important would be campus, solely because if you're ahead in science, you'll be ahead in everything else too, just by nature. After that, probably commercial hub, because gold is good, and industrial zones. Although it would be kind of flipped on its head, industrial zones are probably the most important for Germany. I heal my caravel, and there we go, on to the next turn. I might speed up the video after this, I don't know. It's starting to slow down a little bit because I have a pretty shit PC. I'll take whatever I can from Eleanor. It's not as if she can do anything about us anyway. And starting to get a lot of great people. +1 culture from workshops. Holy shit. Not to mention I get a nice great scientist as well. And I'm starting to build shipyards everywhere, workshops, factories. This is where my production is going to skyrocket. One problem we have right now is we don't have as many trade routes as we could. I'm emphasizing production more so than trade routes, because production obviously allows us to build spaceship parts later in the game, and we are going for a science victory. Though I think I do put in triangular trade, just to get a little bit more gold. Yes, we do. And we're only in a normal age this time, and I just didn't see the thing we got. So I'm just going to skip it. I really want the mausoleum, but again, if it was all coast tiles in the Empire, I'd probably build it. But seeing as how it's only for one city, I guess it really, it's not the biggest priority right now. Bigger priority is getting these Hansas, getting these science buildings. I think I'm about to get not universities, research labs are definitely coming soon, and France wants to settle another city. I don't know about that one. I might have to declare war on them again. Teach them another lesson they did not learn the first time around. Here we are, just starting to fill out our traders right now. Traders, not traitors. Don't know why I can't say that word right. Diplomatic favor's looking really good. If we really wanted to, I bet we could win a diplomatic victory. Especially considering Statue of Liberty still hasn't been built yet. Do I ever end up building that canal? I have no idea, but that probably wouldn't have been too bad of an idea. And there is a religious war going on that the Aztecs seem to be crushing. And oh my god, they removed our governor from Aachen. There goes like 1/3 of our science. And yeah, we can't really do anything about that except get our own spy. I think we end up getting that soon. Right now I was just too busy building districts and stuff. I probably should have kept one city to build spies. I feel like that would be a better strategy. Like earlier in the game, leave one city to finish out all its districts early while the others build military units and civilian units. And then like later on, it's going to have all its districts built, and then that's when I can start building, more units. I got the Metropolis achievement. Can't believe it's the first time I've ever done that. And as for that city I was talking about, we could leave one city to build like spies and units and trade routes. But we did get that first spy, and as you can see, no campuses to be found in the Aztec Empire at all. They apparently are too busy sacrificing humans to read up on their latest novel. And do I want to upgrade my units? Not really. If I'm being completely honest, there's no point. It's just a waste of gold. But here I am wasting gold on tiles to build the Venetian arsenal, which ended up being pretty good later on. I was able to get my navy up pretty fast. And this looks like it's going to be the end of the video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment for future content. I think there are going to be 3 more episodes after this one, so stay tuned in the next coming days, and I'll see you all in the next video.